Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel Cooking for the Family. I'm Devon, and today I'm going to share with you how I make this yummy low sugar chocolate trifle. Are you ready? Let's get started. First we're going to do is we're going to go on and make our chocolate devil's food cake, and we're just going to make our cake based on the directions for the back of the cake box, okay? And so we're just going to keep the directions the same. And hey, if you are new here, welcome to my channel, and if you're a returner, welcome back. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Go on and hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video and appreciate the content, don't forget to show it some love and give it a thumbs up. So once we have our water and our eggs, we're going to go on and add in our vegetable oil to our cake mix, and we're going to just go on and just mix this up. Now my eggs that I put in our cake mix batter, my eggs were sitting on my countertop and I let them become room temperature. And anytime that you are doing cake, guys, you want to make sure that you do have those room temperature eggs, because it's going to mix well. It's going to mix so much better in your batter that you're making, okay? Now something else that you want to be mindful of when you're making cake mix is that you want to make sure that you get in the bottom of the bowl, just like I'm doing, because a lot of times that cake mix or even flour will settle at the bottom of the bowl, and so you want to make sure that you get in there and lift any of that flour or dry cake mix that have settled in there. And also, the cake mix I'm using is a devil's food cake mix, but you can also use a milk chocolate cake mix if you like. You can use a triple chocolate, you can use a Swiss chocolate cake mix. Whatever chocolate cake mix that you like, you can definitely use it in this chocolate trifle. And now I'm going to go on and bake our cake according to the directions, which is going to be at 350 degrees. Now my cake has come out of the oven. It is mostly cool, and we're going to turn it out onto our cake pan. We want it to completely cool before we start to assemble our trifle, okay? And so now that our cake is nice and it's come out, oh, it's come out so nice and perfect. And also, guys, when you are making the chocolate trifle, I like to use my bundt cake. I like to use the bundt cake pan in doing this. It's going to make assembly for your trifle so much easier, okay? And so you see how I cut it? I cut it about, my slices are about an inch thick, about a half an inch to an inch thick is what you want to slice your cake. And I'm just going to go on and make even slices as best as I can throughout the whole cake, because we're going to use about 95% of the cake. We're going to be end up using it. And also, pre-slicing our cake that I'm doing right now also allows the cake to finish cooling. So this also helps the cake to finish cooling while we go on and prepare our pudding. The pudding that we're going to be using is an instant pudding, and we're going to be using the instant sugar-free, fat-free chocolate Jell-o pudding. And you want to go on and prepare the pudding according to the directions. I'm using the larger pudding box mix that is the 2.1 ounce, which is going to give you 6.5 cups of chocolate pudding. Also, I'm using 1%. You want to use either 1% or 2% milk, and I'm actually using the 2% milk. I just like that with the pudding mix. It actually makes the pudding a little bit creamier, and so I prefer to use either a 2% or 1% milk. Now when we're assembling our trifle, we are going to be using some of these mini chocolate chips as a garnish. We are also going to be using some Lite Whipped Topping, and you want to use either Lite Whipped Topping, or you can use the fat-free whipped topping or the sugar-free whipped topping. But I really like the Lite Whipped Topping, and the sugar is only a couple of grams, so it really helps our low sugar chocolate trifle. It just really makes this dessert stand out. Now I'm going to share with y'all and show you how to put and assemble your chocolate trifle. What you want to do first is you want to start off by putting a thin layer of your chocolate pudding on the bottom, and this is going to be your base. So you want to start off first with the chocolate pudding that we have, and I just go around the sides just like that. Now next we're going to layer in our cake. Now with our slices, there is a thicker side and a thinner side of your cake slices. I'd like to nestle in the thicker of the cake slice. I like to put that end closest to the edge of our pan that we're going to be using, of our bowl, and the thinner slices, the thinner of the slice, more towards the center, and that's going to help to create that dynamic of the layers, of that layer effect. Now in the middle, you also want to put a little piece of cake in the middle as well, and that's what it's going to look like. And then we're going to continue with our layers. Next, we're going to put in some more pudding. So we start the pudding. The pudding is the base of it, and then but we go from cake to pudding. Once I put the pudding on, I like to use my spatula and smooth the pudding around the cake and make sure that all the pieces of the cake are nice and moist with that chocolate pudding. And you keep going all around just like that, just like I'm doing. Now when I get to the edge, what I like to do is I just like to go on and kind of push against the edge a little bit, so that way it starts to create a little bit of a ripple and a little bit of that edge right there, so you can really start to see those layers. So we're going to put in our whipped topping. Now our whipped topping, you want to make sure that it is nice and firm, and so I've just recently taken it out of the refrigerator. You do not want to have it be frozen for sure. You want it just to be refrigerated, but that it's just a little bit thawed out of the refrigerator, not the freezer, but out of the refrigerator, so that way you can go on and spread. I like to use my spoon, and you see how I'm using the back of my spoon to push and to spread, just like that. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be mindful not to lift or mix the whipped topping with the pudding underneath, and just press it. And you see how I'm just pressing it against the side of my bowl, and I'm just kind of pressing it like that very gently, and just making that nice pillow effect by using that back of the spoon. That's how you do that, just like that. And while you're doing that, you also want to rotate the bowl that you're using. You see how I'm rotating my bowl? You want to make sure that you're rotating your bowl, so that way you don't miss any of the sides at all when you're putting your layers together and you're putting on that whipped topping. And so that's why I just like to go on and rotate. We're going to continue on with the layers, and we're putting in another layer of the chocolate cake. And this is also why I like to use my bundt pan, because using that bundt pan, having the layers of your cake be already round makes it so much easier. Whether you're using my nice trifle pan that I have here, my nice trifle bowl rather that I'm using here, or if you have a similar bowl or just a glass bowl or a clear bowl, or even if you just have just a container that you're using, and just being able to have those round pieces of cake make it so much easier when you're putting your layers and your trifle together. And I just continue on with the layer of the pudding, and next we're going to do another layer as well of our whipped topping. Now this dessert is so simple if you are a beginner. If you're a beginner and you want to have like a special dessert, and you're just really kind of building your skills of making a nice dessert for yourself, for your friends, and for your family, this is definitely the dessert for you, because it's just basically doing that box cake and the whipped topping, and then you're using that pudding. And because we're using that light pudding of the sugar-free and fat-free pudding and that light whipped topping, this makes this dessert, it's not super sweet at all. It's a very light dessert, very easy to eat, and having it be that just that little bit of low sugar with using that sugar-free, it really is just a nice dessert for people to have. And we're going to go on and put on some more of that pudding and spread it all the way around the edges. And you see how our trifle has come together. It has come together so nicely, y'all. Look at that. It has just come together so nicely. And this is a dessert, like I was saying, this is definitely a dessert that if you are a seasoned baker and a seasoned person in the kitchen, or you are a beginner, this is definitely one that you want to share with your friends and share with your family. And we're going to finish it off by putting on our whipped topping. Now with the last and final top, with the whipped topping, I do not go all the way to the edge. I just go about maybe an inch from the edge, and we really put on that nice light whipped topping, and we're going to make it look so good, so nice and fluffy and pillowy, and using that back of the spoon like I showed you. And we're just going to make the swirls. And what I like to do is I take my spoon, you see how I'm doing there, and I just make circles. I rotate my dish that I'm using, and I make the swirl pattern just like that using the back of my spoon. And that is our nice little touch. Now we're going to do the finishing touches of our little semi-sweet morsels. And you can also, if you like to, use the leftover cake we have, you can always crumble that on top, or you can put on some little semi-sweet morsels. And I like to use little semi-sweet morsels because that little extra, crunch that's in there is just really great in the dessert. Now I cover it with some plastic wrap, and you want to refrigerate this. I like to refrigerate mine for several hours or even overnight. It gets nice and chilled and it sets up perfectly. Well guys, our chocolate trifle has been in the refrigerator chilling for several hours. The layers have nice and set, and let's see how we did. Let's go on and give this a try and see how our dessert came out. Now this dessert, this chocolate trifle, the recipe will feed 12 people very easily, and this is also a great dessert to take to that friend gathering, that family gathering. But let's go on and try it. Let's see how we did. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys the first bite, and let's see. We've got all those nice layers in there, that pudding. Oh my goodness, let's see. Wow guys, it is so good. It is creamy, it is light, and it is hard to believe that this is a nice light dessert. And it's got that sugar-free, fat-free pudding, and it's also got that light whipped topping, just so nice. Well, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go on and hit that subscribe button. If you like this video and appreciate the content, don't forget to show it some love and give it a thumbs up, and click share and share this video with a friend or family. And remember, it is always good when Devon is cooking for the family. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.